TSB Vector Designer V1.0. The first filled vector designer on Commodore Amiga. What contains the TSB Vector Designer? Creating filled vector objects, line vector objects, bob coords tables for the use in your own productions. Red sector demo maker save options for filled vector, lines vector and bob coords. Reviewing your objects in filled vectors. Transform objects easily. Easy perspective object design coding by a lot graphics by Ivan. Documentation written by Ivan C. TSB production March 1991. The red sector demo maker is distributed by Data Vector. This version of the TSB Vector Designer is shareware. You can spread it around the world. If you think that this is a great tool and you use it for your productions, feel free to send $, or DM to the following address. George Waddle, a lot Binsfeldst. 37W3065 Mean State, Germany. Documentation contents I history. First word I. First contact 1. The menu 2. The pointer 3. Important keys if. The main options 1. F1, P-edit, point edit 2. F2, F-edit, face edit 3. F3, F-sort, face sort V. The display vi. TSB data structure 1. Coords 2. Bobs 3. Filled vector 4. Save suffix V. How to use the objects in the red sector demo maker VIE. Special help and hints I history. As we began to write the filled vector routines for maximum overdrive, we got nerved of all the fucking coords which had to be written. The first version of the vector designer was born, but it was a long way to realize it. It took more time to write a first version of this util than all routines for maximum overdrive. Maximum overdrive was ready. Without the help of this golden piece, it wouldn't be possible. Now we recognized how hard it is to make a filled vector demo without a vector designer. So we decided to make a version for the scene, but also, of course, for all other dudes who can need this tool. It is for all the tired coders and coords routine slobs to help them by their lousy work. By the way, there are no more problems with a 2-disc version of Maximum Overdrive, because Flake managed it to write a better loader and packed the whole shit on one disc. So if you haven't the updated 1-disc version of the magnificent Maximum Overdrive in your demo collection, then send 1 disc and a prepaid envelope to the following address. PLK19267W3060 Stadthagen, Germany. For contacting the Special Brothers, write also to this address. First word, the source, Seca, of this designer is very chaotic, because Alok wrote this under heavy time pressure for Maximum Overdrive. First, we don't want to make a release of this crap. This is the reason why this designer isn't very user-friendly, grav. It was impossible to get real structure in this source without writing it totally new. You haven't the help of a directory or pull-down menus. This is a naked program, but what remains is the powerful use of this tool. We also included a special save option for the red sector demo maker, as we noticed that there was no designer in that funny tool. So now you can make your red sector demos with including your own made objects easily. By the way, there is a Special Brothers demo made with a red sector demo maker flying through the scene. Please notice that this is not from us. How low can we go, grav? Not so low, okay dudes. We think that was only a lame joke from some freaks out of Iraq. First contact 1. The menu at the top of the display, you can see 16 options. It begins with P-edit and ends at the next column with CLI. You can reach these options with the keys F1, F10, plus Shift, and Tab. F1 P-edit, one of the 3 main options. In this option you set your points and connect your points with gray lines. This only for the user to help him in constructing his object. The option is for creating bob coords, line vectors, and to pre-design the filled vector objects. Shift plus F1 colors. Here you can enter 16 colors for the filled vector test screen. You enter the colors under input in the display. Give one color after another with pressing enter after every color. F2 F-edit, the second main option of the designer. Here you make the faces of your object. This is only for filled vector objects. Shift plus F2 CLI. With this function you switch your own CLI window. Here you can enter CLI commands, for example dir, copy, etc. By pressing return in your start CLI to go back to the designer. F3 F sort with that third main option you sort your faces. For example, if have one plane under another plane, this option is only for filled vector objects. 2. F4 path, here you enter the path and the name of the object which you want to load or to save. F5D save data save, you save your objects as data files. This is the file structure only for the vector designer. F6D load data load, you load your data files you saved with the option D save. F7 F save ready save, this is the save structure which you will use later in your routine. Shift plus F7 red sector save ready save, for including filled vector objects in the red sector demo maker. F8 range, here you can enter your pointer steps in XYZ dimensions. At for pressing a number, push enter. Make this 3 times without pressing F8 again. F9 L save, this is the option for line save. Shift plus F9 red sector L save, this is the option for line save. For use in the red sector demo maker. F10 V save Bob save, here you can save only coords positions. Shift plus F10 red sector V save Bob save, here you can save only coords positions. For the red sector demo maker. Tab test, with this option you switch to another screen. If you designed your object well, you will see it on the screen in filled vector. 2. The pointer, with a pointer you can set your coords. You move it with a mouse. Moving left right up down you change the pose. Pressing left right mouse button you change the pose. 3. Important keys, the following keys you can use under all 3 main options, P-edit, F-edit, F-sort, and the option test. Press 1 and 2 for changing the angle. The object will rotate around this axis. 3 and 4 for changing the angle. The object will rotate around the axis. 5 and 6 for changing the angle. The object will rotate around this axis. 0 set angles back to first position. An S for shifting the object in direction. D and F for shifting the object in a direction. G and H for shifting the object in direction. Del press this key for deleting a whole object. Attention! You can get back that is deleted. If the main options 1. F1, P-edit, point edit, under point edit you set your coords and connect it with lines. The lines in this option you see in gray color on your screen, and they are only for you to see your object better. The keys for this functions are: enter for setting a coord. Left right arrow switch the pointer between the coords, backspace for deleting the last coord. When you move the pointer on it, C you set the point from which you want to draw the line. V you connect the line from the marked point to the point on which your pointer is. Z you can move a red line above the others. V you kill the red marked line. L you move the last point to the position where your pointer is. Space, if you take the points as Bob coords, you can enter the Bob number for each point. QW shifting the rotating center in the axis. ER shifting the rotating center in the axis. TZ shifting the rotating center in the axis. 2. F2, F-edit, face edit. In this option you create the faces of your filled vector object. Very important is that you must rotate the face you want create to your direction, that it is parallel with the monitor. The face must look at you. And for that, connect all points of your face in clockwise direction. Don't forget that your last point must be your start point. Then you lock the face and make the next. But here are the special keys for the F-edit option. Interlocks a point in your face. Move the pointer on the start point and press enter. Then move it in clockwise direction to your next point and press enter. So you go on with all points of your face. When you reach the last point of your face, start point, then press enter again. The border lines of the face will be shown in red color. V after locking the last point with enter, press V for locking the whole face. When you press V, the color of the border will change from red to green. Z with this keys you change the face, which is marked and which you can edit, kill or set the color. The marked face is shown in red color. See, this key kills the marked face. Backspace you can kill the connect ends of the marked face. This happens in anti-clockwise order. Space with this key you enter the color of your face. You enter it under input, grav, in the display. You enter this in X. 3. F-sort, face sort. With this function you sort your faces in tables. For example, if many faces point at the same direction, you need not test them all. Put them in the same table and you will save time. The first entered face is the first in the table. By the way, this function does not work with a red sector denominator. Now the keys, xi you move the red marked face which you want to edit. Space you take the red face into the table. Space bat you kill the last face in the table. Enter you create a new faceless table. Left right you move between the cursor different tables. MY press this key you will kill a whole visitable. V the display now some words for the understanding of the display. X, here stands the positions where Y, your cursor is. Z, zangle, this is the rotating angle yangle of the point where your zangle cursor is to the center. Zinx, this shows you the position zini of your rotating center. Zens, coords pose, violet, this is the coords number where your pointer is. 4, F1, edit no. Of coords, the number of points your object have. No. Of lines, the number of lines your object have. TS. Not the faceverters you create with F2, set it. Lunestos, this shows you the number of a line which is red marked. Under F1, edit line start, here you see the number of the point which you have marked as start point for drawing a line. Bob number, the bob number of the coords on which your cursor stands. F1, edit. Range is, this shows you the cursor to range you have entered under F8, range. Input, here you enter the bob numbers, colors and the cursor to range. In XPath, this is for entering the path and name of the object you want load or save. But also, for entering the directory path you want look at. Coords pose, green, this is also the number of the coord on which your cursor stands, but this works in F2, set it. Pose, the number of the face, which is marked in red color. F2, set it. Faces, the number of faces you have created in F2, set it. Points, this shows you the number of points of the face, which is selected and marked in red color. Color, the number of the red marked face. No. Of faces, the number of visitables you have created. F3, sort visitors, the number of the visitable you have selected and in which you are working. F3, sort faces in faces, this shows you how many faces you have in the visitable you have selected. F3, sort vi. The object structure Zinx is subtracted from all object coords. Look in the example sources. 1. Bob structure start, DCWX, Y, Z, bob number DCWX, Y, Z, bob number. DCW $7 FFF, and mark the designer saves the objects as raw data files with name B. 2 line structure start, DCWX, Y, Z, bob number DCWX, Y, Z, bob number. DCW $7 FFF, and mark start plus 1024 DCW start coord of 1 line, include DCW start coord of 2 line, include. $7 FFF, and mark the designer saves all objects as raw data files with name L. 3 field structure start, DCWX, Y, Z, empty DCWX, Y, Z, empty. DCW $7 FFF, and mark start plus 1024 DCL address of 1. Visitable DCL address of 2. Visitable. DCL $FFFFFFF, and mark 1. Visitable DCL address of 1 surface DCL address of 2 surface. DCL $FFFFFFF2. Visitable DCL address of 3 surface DCL address of 4 surface. DCL $FFFFFFF1 surface DCW empty, number of points DCW color number DCW number of 1 point DCW number of 2 point. 2 surface. The designer saves the objects as raw data files with name F. The address bus is the beginning of the file. If you haven't marked the surface with the F3 function, it will get a known visitable. 4. Save suffix. When you save an object, the vector designer will write a suffix behind the file like the S the SECA uses. The suffix R, file name D for all data, save, F5 file name L, for line say file name B, for Bob say file name F, for FV say file name R, for Sci line say file name S, for Sci Bob say file name I, for Sci FV say V. How to use objects in the Sci Maker. Just read the raw data files in your object sources. Label, coords, label plus 1024, Bob's Lina surfaces example, filled vector object, read the file sources vector object 1, for the DUMA maker disk, in your SECA. Now you must cut the table of the labels test points, and test flexion. After this you make their VLKV, in your source must stand. Test points, VLKV 1024.0 test flexion, VLKV 2048.0, then assemble. Now write, return the name of your Sci object I, return, begin test points, return, and, return now write, Y, return the name of V, real, Sci object, return begin start, return and end, return now you can load your object in the DUMA maker and use it. For further details of the vector sources look in the manual. Look examples. VIE. Special help and hints when you create the faces of your object in F2. Remember to order them in clockwise direction. For designing your object, use always a pointer stick range. This will help you very much. When you are ready with designing your object, make sure that the last position of points, faces, tables and etc. must be empty. The designer will kill the position by saving it as a ready file. This is very important. Before testing an object with tab, save it as a data file, F5. If you made shit in creating your faces or forgot the last free position in any table, this wonderful machine will fuck up. When you use the objects in the Sci DUMA maker, make sure that your object coords are not too big. When you entered in the Sci object source a zoom from 300, the range of the object coords should not be bigger than from 100 to 100 in all axes. We not really tested all options of Sci DUMA maker, but so we did all went well. Okay, that was it. Hope you like the TSB Vector Designer and look out for further releases of THESPECIALVROTHERS end of text.